Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go over the whole thing here because that's all we're doing today. Okay? So there's no need to ask questions. They will all, hey, shh. They'll all be answered for you.
What about the assignment?
We'll talk about that later. Greg? Greg? Can you give me your attention?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the first three, just asking, do you know the definition of sine, cosine, and tangent? And so number one says you have to find the sine of r. So we're talking about angle r. Sine is what over what?
Opposite over hypotenuse.
Opposite over hypotenuse. So what side is opposite angle r?
R.
Sine r. What's the hypotenuse? S. So sine of r is r over s. No big deal, right? Okay. So how about cosine of r? T over s, because cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and t is the adjacent side, s is the hypotenuse, so it is t over s. Okay? Jonathan, you need some help there? You got it? Okay. Does this make sense? Okay. Gotta be. That's gotta be an easy one. All right. Number two. More or less the same thing, except for two little tricks on here. First of all, they gave you numbers. Hey, Richard. Shh. They give you numbers instead of letters, okay, to start with. And then you should also notice that as soon as we try and do one of these, if I'm going to get the cosine of b, I'm good there, right? Because what's the adjacent side? 30. What's the hypotenuse?
34.
34. So I can go 30 over 34, and I'm sure all of you as good students would reduce that to 15 over 17. Okay? Yeah, point something. Okay?
0.88.
Yeah, that's fine. But then as soon as I have to figure out what tangent is, notice that the tangent is the opposite side over the adjacent side, I am missing a piece of information. How'd you get that? Okay, so to find this missing piece right here, she said a squared plus 30 squared equals 34 squared. So a squared plus 900 equals, anybody know what 34 times 34 is?
1,156.
Okay, 1,156. So if you subtract 900, a squared equals 256. And so a is the square root of that, or 16 like she said. Okay, so now that you know that that side's 16, what's the tangent of b?
16 over 34.
16 over
34. Or the 30.
opposite over adjacent, so 16 over 30, which again, since you're good math students, you reduce that to what? 8 over 15, okay? Okay, so now we're in big trouble. Because now we only have one of the sides of the triangle, and so we can't do anything before we figure another one of the sides out. What do you have?
Isn't it just 3 and 3?
How would you know that?
I don't know.
You don't know? You're right. Okay, it is a 45, 45, 90 right triangle because these two sides are the same, which means these two angles are the same. And since that's a 90-degree angle, both of those angles have to be 45. And so we know there's a relationship between all 45, 45, 90 right triangles, which is that these are the same, and this side right here is whatever those sides are times the square root of 2, okay? If you could not remember that relationship, or if you did not have that written down in your notes, you can still figure this out, because you know both of those sides are the same, right? So you can label them both as x or a or whatever you want it to be, and then go x squared plus x squared equals, what is 3 times the square root of 2 squared?
What did you say?
What is 3 root 2 squared? The 3 squared is 9,
It's 6.
and the square root of 2 squared is 2, and 9 times 2 is
Mine,
18.
my calculator
Okay.
says 6.
Okay, well you typed it into your calculator wrong. What you did there is you typed it in like this, right?
Yep, I did.
Okay, what it does then is it squares the square root of 2 and gets 2, and then goes 2 times 3 is 6. If you want us to square the 3 and the square root of 2, then you better tell it that and put them both in parentheses, okay? Anyway, so that works out to be 18. What's x squared plus x squared? 2x squared.
X4.
Then I need to divide both sides by 2, so x squared equals 9. And so like we said before, both of these come out to be 3, okay? So my point is, Jonathan, my point is if you can't remember that relationship, please, Jocelyn, please, you can still figure it out using the Pythagorean theorem, okay? It's a little bit faster, obviously, if you can just look at it and say 45, 45, 90, 3 root 2, so those both have to be 3, but, you know, you can still do it. Okay, so now I can figure out the sine of the angle. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so 3 over 3 root 2. And this reduces, what can you do with the 3's? Cancel them out. And so it's 1 over the square root of 2. We still have a 1 on top where that 3 was. What's the tangent of C? 3 over 3, which works out to be 1. Okay? All right, so are you okay with that? Better than you were before. All right. Part B. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are simply calculator questions. Okay? So if you don't get all of these right on the test, you have no one to blame but yourself. Okay? The only way that you could get this wrong is if you were in. Can you guys please stop whatever you're doing? No, I'm serious. I don't want to hear what it was, or she did it, or I started it, or whatever. Just quit screwing around so much, okay? The only thing that you have to be aware of is that you need to be in degree mode on your calculator. And I think most of you have it, since that's what we've been working in. So if I want to find the sine of 57 degrees, sine 57, and they want this to the nearest tenth, hundred, thousandth, 10, they want 4 decimals. So this would be 0.8387. Okay? So part B number 1, 0.8387. Okay, then if I want to do the cosine of 9 degrees, same deal, just type that in. I want to go 4 decimal places, so 0.9877, right?
Yes.
Okay, so those are pretty simple. If you want to find the angle, what do you do to figure that out?
You do the second, whatever.
Right, you have to do the inverse sine or cosine, and so for number 3, I'm going to go second sine of 0.5447, and from that you get about 33 degrees. Okay, it says to the nearest degree, so you can just go 33. And then if you go second cosine, 0.0696, then that works out to be about 86 degrees. Okay? So those are pretty simple, or should be.
I hate third problem.
Yeah. All right, good to know. All right, so now we are into part C. First one, I love story problems because you get to make a little pretty picture. It says, the lighthouse is set back 10 meters from the edge of the shoreline. So here's my shore. Okay, isn't that fun that I get to make this little pretty picture? And here's my lighthouse. No, that wasn't it. What is it?
It's a tree.
Looks like a cat.
Like a Chinese
A Chinese cat with a very long neck. Okay. That is 10 meters. 10 meters back from the edge of the shoreline, and its beacon is 52 meters above sea level. So that's 10 meters. This is 52 meters. That is a bad 52.
Yeah.
Okay, Lucy is in her boat out here. Okay, and she is looking at the lighthouse, right? So the angle of elevation from her eyes to the top of the lighthouse is 18 degrees. Okay? Her eyes are 12 meters above sea level. Boy, bless you, this is pretty complicated, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whoa.
What are you doing?
I don't know, rocking the world. See that whole thing switch? So this is 12 meters right here. How far is the ship from the shoreline to the nearest meter?
How do you do
Okay. Well, we got ourselves a right triangle here, don't we?
that? Yeah.
I believe. And we know, of course, this is a right angle. This side right here is 52, but that's from the beacon all the way down to sea level. Her eyes are 12 meters above sea level. So as far as this triangle is concerned, then this distance of this side that we really want to mess with is 40 meters, not 52. So you have to take the whole 52 meters minus the 12 meters her eyes are above sea level. Okay? So now I can use this to figure out, I know this angle is what, 18?
18.
Okay, so now I can figure out the length of this whole dotted red line by using what? Tangent. Okay? So the tangent of 18 degrees equals the opposite side, which is 40
Over 18.
over, no, we don't know. Yeah, over x. All right? How do I solve that for x since the variable is on the bottom?
Divide.
I have to divide. Good. Yes.
It's going to be x plus 10.
I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to figure out what this whole thing is first and then subtract 10 from my answer. But your way would work as well. And then you would be solving directly for x. Okay? So yeah, that's another way that you could do it. So x is equal to 40 divided by the tangent of 18. And what do you get for that?
123.
Okay, so let's go with 123 meters. Okay? But then, like you said, the lighthouse is 10 feet back from the shore, so if I want to know how far my boat is from the shoreline, I need to subtract those 10 meters, and so they are 113 meters away. No, because I found this entire distance right here, because I used this whole big triangle right there. Okay? So if I added 10 meters, that would extend it out this way. And what I found was the length of this entire dotted line, but I only want to know this piece right here, so I can subtract these extra 10 meters off.
Really good test.
All right, are you ready for number 2? Number 2 says, Igor is flying his kite. He has let out 300 feet of string. Okay? So that's the string, and here's the kite. And as Nolan knows, it's always fun to make pictures. Right? Okay, and here's Igor, whatever, right here. The string makes an angle of 64 degrees with the level ground. And the nearest foot, how high is his kite? And so, we are supposed to figure out this distance right here, okay? So what do you use? Sine, because you are looking for the opposite side and you know the hypotenuse. So, whoops, I did that wrong. Okay, hold on. Why? Hey, why is this happening today? Stop talking, please.
Hi, friends.
Okay? You're making me crazy. There's all this little background. Okay, shh.
I think it's because we're
That's fine, but there's other people that need to like learn this and understand. So
Me.
just chill, just sit, okay? Think of it as a free day. Put your head down and take a nap if you don't show learn this stuff. But don't just have a conversation with your friends. Easy there.
easy.
Okay? The h is on top, so what do you do to solve? I have to multiply this time. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 300. So this turns out to be, or should be, a very simple problem. You just go 300 times the sine of 64 and you get what? You get what? 270? Okay. And it does say they want it to the nearest foot, right? Okay, so that's not a big deal. You just draw a triangle, you put the things in there where they're supposed to go, and that's what's up. Okay? Okay, number 3. Julia wants to find the height of a redwood tree. You gotta draw a tree. Okay, so here is the redwood tree, and redwoods are really tall.
Yep.
Like me.
Here's Julia
Drove through the redwood tree.
down there. Drove through a redwood tree over spring break. Okay, the tree's really big. The redwoods, they're like, oh yeah, the tree. Okay, shh, shh, shh. She paces 73 steps from the base of the tree. So she starts at the base of the tree and she walks 73 steps. But we are not going to label that with 73 because it says each step is 0.6 meters. And so what we want to do is figure out what the total distance that she walked is. Okay? So how do you do that? Multiply. What do you get when you go 73 times 0.6? 43.8. So she actually walked 43.8 meters. And then for whatever reason she stops there, turns around and looks up to the top of the tree and finds out that the angle of elevation is 65 degrees. Okay? So now she needs to use cosine to figure this out. So the cosine of 65 equals what? Oh no, I don't want to go cosine. Who said cosine? Yeah, why did you say tangent? Why did you say cosine? Okay, tangent of 65 equals what over what? X over 43.8. And since the variable is on the top, what do I do to solve for x? Multiply. So what is 43.8 times the tangent of 65? 94 what? Meters. Okay, 94 meters. So if you want to know how tall a tree is in feet, multiply that by 3.1. It's a tall tree. All right, almost there.
That's 291.4 feet.
Pretty tall tree. Okay, number 4, air traffic controller Seymour Planes. Get it? Okay.
Oh, I get it.
Okay. Must quickly calculate the altitude of an incoming jet. So here comes the plane.
That's a plane.
Uh-huh.
I haven't seen it now.
Okay. He records the jet's angle of elevation as being 8 degrees, so this would not be drawn to scale because that angle is 8 degrees. Right here.
It's a good plane.
Okay, gosh, thanks. The jet signals that its land horizontal distance from the control tower is 74 kilometers. So the people in the airplane use their fancy instrument panel thingy and say that they're 74 kilometers along the ground from the tower. Okay? Calculate the altitude of the jet to the nearest meter. Well, you'd like to think if they could figure out how far they are along the ground, they could probably figure out how far above the ground they are, but who knows? Maddie? Yes, you may.
No.
So this is what we're trying to find. So what do we use? Tangent. So tangent of 8 degrees is the opposite side, which is, or h or whatever, divided by the adjacent side, which is 74. How do you solve that for the height of the jet?
74 times tangent.
And you get 10? 10 kilometers. It says the nearest meter. Nice catch. Okay, so how many meters is that?
1,000 kilometers in a meter.
There's 1,000 kilometers in a meter. So that's 10,000 meters in the year. Or just over 30,000 meters.
Alright.
Alright? Okay, now last two, I'm thinking we're probably going to do something with the law of sines or law of cosines, since we haven't hit that yet. So we've got ourselves a triangle here.
Wait, what was the answer to number 4?
$10,000. Okay, A is 48 degrees.
No, it's not.
AC is
No.
62.
What was it?
And AB is
Huh?
61.
10,000?
And we're trying to find the measure of angle B. What do we do?
Log cosine.
Law of cosines, how do you know?
Because you don't have a between two sides.
Right, because the angle they give you is in between the two sides. We don't know the opposite side, okay? So I'm going to have to do a couple different things. So I'm going to have to use the law of cosines to find that. And then once I know that, I need to use the law of sines to figure out the angle that I need, okay? So this is the easy one to do, relatively easy when you're using the law of
61
cosines.
squared
So it's x squared is 61 squared.
plus 62 squared minus 2. Those are 40 meters.
Can I have
Okay.
some candy?
So you can just type that into your calculator the way it's written. Take the square root and tell me what we get. What?
Oh no.
50? Okay, I trust that. 50 sounds about right. Okay, so now that we know that this side is 50, how can we use that to figure out angle B? Law of sines. So since these two are across from each other, I'm going to use them as one of my ratios. So the sine of 48 over 50 equals
Sine of x over 62.
sine of, I'm going to go with B just to be consistent, but yeah, you get the idea, over 62. So I cross multiply and divide. Get some crazy decimal as an answer. Is that the answer that we want?
No.
No, what do you have to do? Second sign of that answer, whatever it is. 67 degrees. Okay, so B is about 67
okay,
degrees.
I did it way wrong. Well, different. I got the
Okay, good deal. Works for me. All right, and then the
Hold
last
on.
one from these.
Hold on.
Hold on.
62. Okay.
All right,
Can I have
so
some
same thing
candy?
again. No,
Darn it.
same thing again.
Don't judge.
So we're starting with a triangle. This one is triangle DEF.
Yes.
You know that F is 54, DF is 70, and EF is 50. And now we're trying to find DE. So since that's across from the angle, what do we have to do again? Law of cosines one more time. So this time F squared equals 70 squared plus 50 squared minus 2 times 50 times 70 times the cosine of 54.
I think I did this wrong.
Figure out that whole thing. Take the square root. Tell me what you do. What?
57.
Nope. That's tomorrow. Are you ready, right?
87.
Okay.
Alright.
No? There you are. What'd you get?
87.
57?
Why you ask me can't you just say it?
I just need two people to come up with the same answer, then I'm confident that it's right. Huh? Okay, there's three, so we're good. Okay, so that's the front side.